But one of the biggest stories coming into this week in the WWE as we head to the Rumble was Seth Rollins, who defended his World Heavyweight Championship last Monday against Jinder Mahal, which I don't think I saw Jinder Mahal on Raw this previous Monday, which is kind of interesting. You kind of pushed him into the title picture just to quickly forget about him. But during that match last week, Rollins sustained a knee injury, and he got an MRI done, and it revealed that Seth Rollins tore his MCL and partially torn his meniscus. And now the red lights are flashing up in, I think, in WWE headquarters, because we're on the road to WrestleMania. And Seth Rollins, at least as your World Heavyweight Champion, is probably being considered as one of the main events at WrestleMania. He's definitely earned it yet again. I mean, he's done a lot. He's carried this title, wonderfully. He has defended it. He's been a great champion, regardless if he drops it or not. So, but heading into Raw, I think there was a bit of a question of whether the WWE was going to do whatever it takes to keep Rollins as champion as long as possible, or was that title going to be vacated? And if so, how are they going to resolve this issue? Well, Monday, Seth Rollins opens up the show, and he makes it very clear that his injury is serious. There is a time frame of 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer, and that he's going to, if the doctors say that you need surgery, he's going to do what he needs to do to be healthy. But then Imperium comes out, interrupts Seth Rollins, and this kind of took me by surprise, because this is the first time I've seen Gunther impose himself into the main title threshold. And Seth Rollins says, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and I will walk in and walk out as your World Heavyweight Champion. And so now the ball's been set, or the ball's hit back into the other court. The WWE, it looks like the WWE is going to protect Rollins and that World Heavyweight Championship as much as they can between now and WrestleMania. So maybe Seth Rollins could have been scheduled for a match at Elimination Chamber. I doubt we see that. Seth Rollins has been competing on the Raw brand on a weekly basis. That's going to be put to a halt. He's going to WWE is going to reposition Seth Rollins where he can still be out there. He can maybe do some commentary. He's going to still be seen on a weekly basis, but as far as action-wise goes, he's not going to be a part of any of that. And, this is a bold move. The WWE has done a lot to protect their wrestlers. And we've seen it on live television before, earlier this year, throughout the month of January alone, where if athletes are questionable of continuing, they will stop the match and not continue if it's necessary. We've seen it. And I know for a fact that, WWE, they have some of the best doctors in the world. They have really well training, and you need that for a company as big as the WWE. But this is a bold risk. Now, I don't know. I'm convinced that Seth Rollins is going to drop the title at Mania. I think maybe a little small break as we see other talent build. throughout the last several months. So it's just getting there and making sure that Seth Rollins is good enough for a WrestleMania match. And if so, then all is well that ends well. I guess, is that the figure of speech that you would say? But the WWE has made their decision. They're gonna, move forward with this, and we're gonna see where it takes us. Now, keep in mind that Damian Priest still has that Money in the Bank contract in that briefcase that gives him a title shot anytime, anywhere. And so now we start maybe twirling our brains a little bit on trying to put the pieces together of how could Damian now cash in that title or that briefcase and get a title opportunity. Because he doesn't have to focus on Seth Rollins. He could do this at any time, any place, anywhere. And a lot of people actually thought that Damian Priest could have done it on Monday. Take him out of action. And that would have been a bold, move. And, I know that the Judgment Day is kind of crumbling down, but Damian Priest as a single, competitor, he's been getting a lot of, praises. He's been impressing a lot of people. And so I just, that would be a whole different, I just don't know how you would see that working. Like Damian Priest cashing it in, becomes champion. Then now Damian and Finn is going into a tag team title, match this Monday. I was also one to be a favor towards seeing a feud between Damian and Finn for the World Heavyweight Championship. And as we talk about the Rumble later, I'd argue that case. But I just hope that this doesn't do significant damage to Seth Rollins down the road. And I hope that whatever storyline is presenting or is building up for his WrestleMania match, it doesn't tarnish because of this injury. Another highlight of the WWE of Monday Night Raw, particularly this past Monday, had to be the face-off between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. And things kind of got pretty intense, and you could start seeing a nice feud being developed. And where does this lead towards WrestleMania? You got Cody Rhodes, who has this goal to become WWE champion, and that's Roman Reigns. And so Cody is heading into the Rumble as looking to win the Rumble once more and get another opportunity. He feels like he's ready. He's gone through Brock Lesnar. He's competed against, a handful of guys on the Raw roster, recently Shinsuke Nakamura. And so when I look at this feud, could there be something working for the next few months? Sure. But you can always start this aggression, this type of feud, put a pin in it and say, we're going to return a bit later. And that's what I think that we could see happening. This also helps, CM Punk has yet to have a match in the WWE. Yes, he's had some house shows matches, but nothing on television. And this Saturday is his first in-ring return on an actual Raw, SmackDown, PLE. That means something. And so, and I know that there's a lot of people out there pointing towards CM Punk to win this Rumble. But you have a guy who just returned back to the WWE, yet to have a match. And I just don't know how quickly the WWE is like, all right, let's go ahead and put, put the title on Phil. In my eyes, I don't see it happening. But then if, and I have some other conspiracies that could lead towards WrestleMania that then will possibly leave out Punk, in a storyline. So, but they both took shots at each other, not actually at the beginning of this, these promos. They were complimenting each other. And then it got intense because Punk, and it seems like everyone who is getting into a feud with Cody here lately has been using their relationship with Dusty Rhodes. It's interesting because, this generation of talent that we see today has been heavily influenced or coached among the American Dream. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, has played a major impact on a lot of these talents. Drew, Roman, Seth, CM Punk, obviously, Finn. So you look, Kevin, Sami Zayn, they all grew up going through the NXT, going through the rankings, and they've had to come across Dusty Rhodes. And at some point, Dusty's given them some guidance, some knowledge, some information to kind of help them push their career along. And CM Punk is one of those guys. And so then it gets very personal now when Cody is hearing that stuff. And, whether this was all scripted, whether this was all legit, it created a good storyline, which I really enjoyed seeing. And that was the important part, right? We've been prone to seeing WWE feuds over the last years being so heavily scripted that it takes the authenticity away from the feud. So to be able to come out and cut a promo, but we were talking about this on Armchair Booking Wrestling podcast earlier today, and one of the notions about when you bring up Dusty's name is like bringing up the Flair's name. You wonder if there was a clearance that Punk got from Cody prior to doing this, because you do take stabs at a legacy family, and sometimes, you go too far and it doesn't become a work anymore, it becomes a shoot. So, but this, like I said, this feud that we're potentially seeing, I would personally put a pin in it, hold it up, maybe a SummerSlam, Survivor Series, whatever you want to call it, and still go toward the line. But it makes an interesting, all right, what's going to happen heading into the Rumble? And that's what we're all talking about here. What could we see heading into the Royal Rumble this Saturday? And one of the things I can honestly see is CM Punk costing Cody a Rumble victory, which then puts him on a setback from getting back to Roman Reigns and that WWE Championship title. And then you can, maybe you put Punk and Rhodes at Mania, but then a question you have to ask yourself is why. The question that I end up asking in this sense is where is that story being finished? Do we officially hold that off until next year? Because there's been stuff that's been said about this feud that that makes you think that if it's not finished now, then you won't see it finished down the road. All right. Well, I want to jump back into a little bit more of the conversation with Cody and CM Punk about their promo shoot and possibly seeing this either a feud heading into WrestleMania or a work that can be used as a feud down the line. And when we look at Cody Rhodes telling this story, I mentioned this earlier. I don't logically see a triple threat match between Dwayne, Cody, and Roman at Mania. I also don't see. I mean, what could work is seeing Cody and Roman and Cody and Dwayne having their single matches and Roman main eventing both nights at Mania. But that becomes okay. Well, if Roman beats Dwayne on night one, but then drops it to Cody night two, I think you contradict yourself. If you lose the title to Cody on night one, but beat Dwayne on night two, you contradict yourself. If Roman wins both nights, then I think for Cody, what is your next move? Where do you go from there? You've already spent the past year trying to earn this title once again. So, and then, and then on top of that, if Roman loses, I mean, he's taken a big hit if he loses to both Cody and to Dwayne at WrestleMania. Which then leaves me into Cody or Roman having one match, which then only also could lead to Cody not winning the Rumble unless Roman drops the title this Saturday at the Rumble in the Fatal 4-Way match he has coming up. And I really want to dive into that theory more so in an hour, but I guess we're here already. So let's talk about that. My prediction and how this could work out. Cody is desperate to win. He's desperate to win, to finish this story. But what's interesting about this story is that it doesn't have to be, I don't think it has to be finished with Roman Reigns. I don't think it doesn't matter who has that WWE championship as long as Cody's the one who's winning it. Which then begs me to believe that if Roman has a match with Dwayne, why would they put Dwayne and Roman in Australia at Elimination Chamber? Unless, if you're putting at Dwayne and Roman at Elimination Chamber, that means you have Dwayne has not just one but two matches left in him, maybe even three. Because if you're going to utilize Dwayne's final match, you're going to utilize the match at Mania. That's where it fits best for me. Which means Roman's occupied at Mania. Then you go along to asking yourself, like we ask ourselves each and every year, what is that story for Roman Reigns? Who is that next person? Who is that person that can dethrone Roman and become the new WWE champion and win? How long is this title reign going to run? Roman Reigns is sitting in fourth in the history books behind Bob Backlund, who has like 1,400 days. And then like 30 days later, it's Hulk Hogan at number 2. And then it's Bruno Sammartino, which I don't think Roman will ever pass Bruno Sammartino. So unless you don't have Roman defending that title at Mania and you just stick with Roman and The Rock, and Roman wins this match at the Rumble and he goes on for another year, you could pass Hogan, you could pass Bob Backlund, and you could always write this story for next WrestleMania. Possibly. I haven't done the math. Don't hold me accountable to it. But I don't see that happening. And if you, I also believe that WWE is a bit smarter. You don't have Vince McMahon as your, as your creative leader anymore. Hunter's been doing a pretty stand-up job lately, and I think he also has been listening to the fans. Therefore, if you're listening to the fans, and I'd be stunned to be the only person on this planet that could think this could possibly happen. But have him drop it at the Royal Rumble so that he can only focus on Dwayne Johnson. And what's great about a fatal 4-way match is that Roman doesn't have to be pinned in order to win, in order to lose the title. You have AJ Styles, who came back from, I believe, injury, right? LA Knight, who's been probably one of the hottest SmackDown talents there is since this past year. And then you have Randy Orton, who came back from almost a career-ending surgery, a couple of surgeries, if I'm not mistaken. And he's the only one that logically has a reason to go after Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. And see, in my opinion, this would have just been a singles match with Randy and Roman. But then you also consider, the state, the health in mind for Randy and for Roman, as close we are to WrestleMania. You can use, AJ Styles, LA Knight to work most of that match. And so my theory is, if you get Dwayne and you get Roman at Mania, and that's the only thing you have, drop the title at Royal Rumble. And the only other person that logically fits the bill that could use a title would be Randy Orton. There's no promises that, I think Randy Orton has another title run. And there's no promises that Roman's here next year. He's had a couple major surgeries. I think Roman's is a ticking clock when it comes down to a retirement, to the type of wrestler you're going to get out of him. The best days that you're going to get from him moving forward are right now. So why not, if he's on, even if it's a small title run, it's still a title run. But why not put the title on him now, this Saturday, and then it gives you the reason why Cody wins that Rumble. If not, like I said, I still think that CM Punk can eliminate. I think CM Punk eliminates Cody. Cody's going to have to wait off a little bit more. He may have to go into the Elimination Chamber and earn it that way. But then we'll see. But then we can see a Cody versus Randy. As I went back to this, Cody doesn't need to beat Roman Reigns. He just wants to complete the story. And you think about the history between Cody and Randy, and back in the days with Legacy, taking all those trips, we've heard about it in interviews before. Wouldn't it be such a sweeter part of WrestleMania, or even this storyline, if Cody's the one to beat Randy Orton? And you just get that out of the way. For me, you talk about dream scenarios, and you talk about what you could get fans hyped for. I'm 1,000% that fans would back into this story, would believe this. And then you have not one, but now you created two main event matches, that Randy and Cody for night 1, Roman and Dwayne night 2. And I think you're making some magic. You're making a lot of money. And it gives you the reason why Cody, you kind of create this element like they've done to Shawn Michaels before, where you where you're throwing in a scenario where the urge and desperation that Cody has to have to finish this story may just become a hindsight in the rearview mirror when he comes and gets eliminated at the Rumble, and then has to find a way to get another opportunity. Remember Shawn Michaels in his retirement, how he had to face The Undertaker, and so he set himself out to go win the Rumble, got eliminated, ended up costing Taker the title at Elimination Chamber, which then ultimately led for Taker to accept the challenge under the condition that Sean put his career up on the line. That right there was a great story. And I know this is a bit different, but see, from my understanding, Cody Rhodes has even said that, listen, this year has to be the year. I'm not waiting around, and being pushed off to the side if this isn't happening. I don't see any other way. I mean, yeah, if you can guarantee me that Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes can have another match next year at WrestleMania, and that's the year where Cody, dethrones Roman from the title, then I'll be open to it. But I feel like you have two great matches now that I don't think you'll get an opportunity next year to have these same two opportunities. It's better late than never. I know we've been talking about Dwayne and Roman for years now. And since it's practically at our fingertips, you guys, make it work. Now, that does leave CM Punk a favor at the Rumble, but I have another story to tell with that, which then ultimately leaves Punk out of the Rumble. And see, Cody could take cracks at Bob Orton, and Randy could take cracks at Dusty Rhodes. And it's a back and forth. And like I said, you still have a future feud because you could always bring that WWE championship to Raw, and Punk could be on Raw, or Punk could go back to SmackDown, and you could still have this feud that leads to Punk, because it does logically make sense to me. Punk wins a title. I don't think it'll be at Mania. Maybe it's SummerSlam, maybe it's Survivor Series, whatever the case may be. It could be Cody who's the one who dethrones him. But the greatest part of this entire scenario that we're talking about here tonight is that Roman doesn't get pinned this Saturday. Therefore, if he decides to take a hiatus for whatever reason, maybe health reasons, he's been up on the top of the food chain for quite some time. Maybe it's time to step away. You can see Roman come back and insert him as the number one contender automatically for whatever he wants. He doesn't lose credibility. He doesn't lose, he doesn't lose his place in line. And I think it just automatically fits well.